Hi, guys. This is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and we are ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain. And welcome to another live feed in our series of If You Think It's Blank, This Is What You Need to Know. Now, this is really prompted from there's a lot of bad information out there that people will try to align with to fix their relationship with food. And in so doing, it actually makes their eating disorder worse. It makes their patterns of eating worse, and it actually teaches your body to put on more and more weight. And we're trying to do the exact opposite when we approach these things. And so we're having this series because it's really important to get that information out there so that we don't make this worse, and then we know what to do. And so today we're going to talk about a very common part of the cycle of if you think you need to get to your goal weight. If you think that that is going to be something that's going to help or something that you need to do first, then this is what you really need to know. So hi guys, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach. So fun to see you on. Hi. Feel free to say hello and that you're here, the hearts and the likes, any questions that come up, or if you guys have had this experience, you guys really make this an amazing community. So let's go ahead and dive in. So if you think that you need to get to your goal weight first, an important element that you need to know is really what the cycle looks like. So our relationship with food is a cycle, and our relationship with our bodies is a cycle as well. And that's not a bad thing unless it's a cycle that is distorted and keeps on making things worse and worse. You can also have a cycle that makes things better and better. But either way, think of the patterns in our life. We wake up, we are in a certain pattern of meals, we are in a certain pattern of disordered eating, we are a certain pattern with how our bodies work. And in this cycle, every time that it goes around, it's either getting you closer to your goal or it's getting you farther away from what you want. And so we start out with a feeling of this is going to be the last time. Like we're sick and tired of it. We've been binging, we've been overeating, we're at this weight where you're so uncomfortable in your body, you're uncomfortable in your clothes, you're hating getting dressed in the morning, you're getting diagnosed with all of these issues that have to do with the weight that you've put on. And you draw that line in the sand, you say enough is enough. Like this is going to be the time. I'm finally motivated enough. I'm finally sick and tired and uncomfortable enough that I'm going to fix this. And the first step is you've got to get the weight off first, right? It's like, that's what's so uncomfortable. That's the damage that your body has taken from all of these years of disordered eating. So we've got to get the weight off first because we have this association with weight and health. And if we can lose weight, we get healthier. And the thinner that we are, the healthier we are. And we should do a whole nother live feed about that because that is not true. That is something that is an idea, a bad idea, but an idea perpetuated by our society. So we do amazing when we start out. We've got all of this motivation and we find our plan and we find our diet and we stick to it for 6 months, you lose 80 pounds. Feel amazing. And everyone around you can see your success. Everyone around you can see how well you're doing, you're getting compliments, and you're starting to feel like, why did I ever eat that way? Like, I feel so good eating healthy. I feel so good prepping my meals. I feel so good with 80 pounds off of my frame, with all of this weight off of my joints. I have energy. I feel amazing. I'm never going back. And we have this new identity of, wow, I feel so good. Hi, so fun to see you on. Hi. So we feel awesome and we're almost there. We've done so well. We're in those last 5 pounds. We're in that last little 5-10 pound window and we're almost to our goal. And in fact, we're feeling so good right now, but you know what? We had a goal and we're going to get to it because that's just who we are now. And then you start thinking, then what? How am I going to eat after this? And you start having all of these foods that were off the table for 6 months and you realize like, oh, like those things won't be off the table anymore. Like I'm not going to be dieting in about 5 pounds. And so you start thinking of all those things that you can have, and you're a new person now and you feel so good and you know that you're never going to go back to the weight that you were and you're never going to go back to that old lifestyle where you were so miserable. And so you start having some of those things in moderation. Like, you know what? I'm a healthy person. I've lost this weight. I should be able to eat normally. I should be able to have a cookie. I should be able to have dessert. And then you start slipping. With your diet, you're not measuring so much. You're not paying so much attention to the calories and condiments. You're not, looking at the menu so much when you go out. You're healthy, you're healthy, you're healthy. You're this new person. You can have things, and you're being less measured and less careful. And then you wake up to the fact that it's gone too far. And you have that sinking feeling where it's a familiar feeling. It's that feeling like 6 months ago when you were out of control. And it's that feeling of having gone too far and eaten too much and feeling compulsive about food. And the scale has gone down for months and months. And now it's going up. And after all the work that you've done, and after being so close to your goal, the scale goes back up. And we get terrified because it's going the wrong way. And we were so close, and we're not going to mess this all up now. So we get even more dedicated to our diet. We get even more dedicated to our goal. We recommit, and then we're getting confused because every time we recommit, when we're almost there, then we start getting wobbly again, and we start eating things that we shouldn't, and we start seeing the scale go back up, and then we get recommitted, and then we go back to it. And the timeline is getting pushed out and out, and you start thinking, I could have lost those last 5 pounds 4 months ago. But now I've just been yo-yoing up and down those 5 pounds. Okay, I slip, the scale goes up. I panic, I recommit, the scale goes back down. And then it's just up and down within this range. And you start feeling crazy, and you start eating crazy, because every time that you get close to the goal, you start wondering why you're sabotaging yourself. And at first, you know what? It's 10 pounds that jumps up in a week, and it's really scary, and you can just get that back off again, but then you start going up, and then it keeps going up, and it's harder to get back down. So the scale is jumping up even faster, but then it's harder to recommit, and it feels like it takes more willpower to recommit. And when you used to, okay, go back on it for 4 weeks and get the weight off, now you can only do that for 2 weeks. Now you can only do that for 3 days. Maybe you even touch your goal weight for a moment. Maybe you're able to stick for it long enough that you touch that goal weight, and you take your after pictures, and you take your measurements, and you make dedications, and you throw out all of your fat clothes, and you're never going back there because you're finally there, and you touched it. You touched the goal weight for a day. And then as soon as you did, something changed in your mind, and something changed in the way that you felt toward food. And you're eating the things that you know that you shouldn't. In fact, there was a woman that we worked with that, as she was losing her 100 pounds, every time that she thought of something that she wanted, that she shouldn't have until she reached her goal weight, she would put it in the freezer. She would just stick it in the freezer. You know what? I'm focused on my goal right now. I'm just going to put it in the freezer for now. And all the things that we were in alignment with of like, okay, I'm not going to have that in that temporary goal if I'm going to get to my goal weight. Now all those things start rushing back in. Because we've been white knuckling it. We've been white knuckling it this whole time, and we've been using more and more willpower as we've been yo-yoing up and down next to our goal weight. And the harder we try, it's like the faster the weight goes up. And the more dedicated we get, it's like the stronger that our cravings are. And you took 6 months to lose all of that weight, and you tried so hard, and you stuck to it. And despite your months of yo-yoing, you know that this is so, so important to you, and you're dedicated to it. And so you finally get to that goal weight, and you gain back what took you 6 months to lose in 6 weeks. And it is terrifying to you how quickly your body can put that weight back on. And you just got rid of all of your fat clothes. And now you're having to buy new clothes, and you're having to hope that you don't see anybody at the mall or the thrift store, because you know what, I'm not going to invest in fat clothes again, and I've just wasted all of that, and I just threw everything out of my closet, and oh, these clothes are just to tide me over until I can finally lose the weight again. And you're having to try on in this body that you don't recognize anymore all of these new clothes, and you're looking in the mirror, and you're crying in the dressing room. But this is just to tide you over, right? Like you're going to lose it again. And what happens is that either we never got rid of that identity of when we were big. And so we feel really down on ourselves because we feel like complete frauds because, yeah, we lost 80 pounds, but now we've gained it all back. And maybe this is just who I truly am. And we go into depression. Or you have changed the identity, and you fell in love with that person that had energy and you fell in love with that person that had style and was thinner and could dress well. And now that person is stuck in a body that you don't recognize anymore. And it feels like an absolute failure. And you make big declarations that, well, this is going to be the time. This is absolute rock bottom. I simply cannot gain it back again. And so through the tears in the dressing room, we make big declarations that we've got to do it again. But then we look back and we see that this is not the first time this has happened. And we lose the weight and then we gain it back plus some. And you think back to a decade ago when you thought that you were fat and you were 50 pounds lighter than this, and how every single time that you've tried so hard and you've thrown out all your fat clothes and you've gone down to this place and you've created a new identity, that every time that it's come back, it's plus some. And you have no idea what to do from here. And now you can't stick to your diet for more than a few days. So you don't know how you're going to get back to that place. You just know that you have to get there. And this is the cycle that happens when we feel like we've got to get to our goal weight first. When we feel like, okay, well, this has got to be the way that it is. We're going to get to our goal weight and then something's going to change. And then when we get there, we start going crazy with food and we don't understand why. And this is what you need to understand if you feel like it's about that number and it's about that goal weight. You have to have a plan afterward. And I know that a lot of times we trick ourselves into thinking like, oh, but this is a lifestyle change and my habits are going to change along the way. But what it really is that it's disordered eating for a cause. It's, I am going to restrict my calories and I'm going to put all of these things on the no list and I'm going to not go out to eat and I'm going to weigh and measure and food prep everything. And we start getting into disordered eating, and we didn't lose weight eating normally. We lost weight by giving ourselves an eating disorder, eating in a disordered way with this idea that something is going to change, this fantasy that something will be different once we're thinner. And has that ever worked? Has it ever worked? So here's what's really happening. As soon as we go into that cycle of, okay, well, I've got to get to my goal weight first, your cravings automatically go up. You're signaling to your body that all the things that you're not going to have actually become more appealing. So your cravings go up. So this woman who had put sweets in the freezer during her whole weight loss journey and 100 pounds she lost, and she just kept on putting things in the freezer, she was literally at her goal weight and eating frozen desserts out of the freezer because the cravings had gone so crazy once she reached or got close to her goal weight that she didn't even wait for those things to thaw. This is a mature, successful career woman who had a family, and she can't stop herself from eating frozen things that are like not delicious at all, that have been in there for 6 months and can't even wait for them to thaw, and eating them out of control. This is what we are teaching our body to do when the pattern is, okay, I've got to get to my goal weight first. So the other thing that happens when we try to get to our goal weight and when we're close to our goal weight is our body gets smaller, and so we need fewer calories. So when we were larger, maybe we'd eat 3,000 calories a day to maintain that weight. But now it's only 2,000 calories a day to maintain the weight. And we go back to eating, once we reach our goal weight, the same way that we ate when we were larger. And so the weight, that's why it comes back on, or just one reason why it comes back on so quickly. The other thing that happens is through trying to get to our goal weight, we have slowed our metabolism. We've cut our calories low, and so your body is wonderful at adapting. So your body says, okay, well, good. We'll just be able to adapt to this so we don't keep losing weight, because your body is designed to protect you from starving. And so your metabolism is slowed. So now you've gone from needing 3,000 calories to being a size where you need 2,000 calories to having a metabolism where if you eat more than 1,000 calories a day, then you have rapid weight gain happening. And I remember the incredible frustration with this, that I couldn't eat anything. I had such strong cravings and I had this eating disorder and I was a binge eater and I felt like I was addicted to food and driven to it. And it made me so mad that besides exercising so hard and trying to be so healthy and eating low calorie things, I could never feel full. I could never feel satisfied. And I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't eat a piece of fruit. I couldn't eat one apple without putting weight back on my body because my metabolism was so slow. That's why it comes back so quickly. So here's what has to happen. So you've got to fix your relationship with food so that you can eat normally. And eating normally allows our bodies to get to a healthy set point weight. And doing anything that we cannot do forever is just a temporary fix. And this fantasy of, oh, okay, well, something's going to be different once I lose the weight, literally teaches our body to drive up our cravings, slow our metabolism, and then put the weight all back on plus some. We are teaching our bodies how to get to higher and higher levels of weight permanently. And this isn't even going into, but it's pushing up your set point weight every time that you restrict. So you've got to fix it on a desire level. This has to be done at the root. It's not about external circumstances and controlling your food. This is about being able to end this issue on a desire level. To be able to, hey, you love sweets, but you can have them or you could not have them, and you don't go crazy when you have one. And if you don't like that particular sweet, then you don't feel obligated to eat it. And when you do like something, then you eat that. And it's what normal eaters experience, where there's no have to, and there's no drive, and there's no extreme cravings, because they haven't taught their body to do that. And it's about getting back to that place, because your true desires are sustainable. There's nothing as sustainable as what you truly desire and what you actually want to do. And when you don't want to be in this place where you're just eating more and more and more, and when you're not driven to just keep on going back to the cupboard and back to the cupboard and back to the cupboard and thinking about sweets all the time and trying not to eat them, but then going crazy if you do. And if you have one, then you want all the more of these. It's not just the psychological desires, but the physical desires that can happen when we end the disordered eating first. And that is what's truly sustainable. It has to be changed on that level. Most of our clients think that at first they need a food plan because they don't know how to eat normally. And then what they find out in just a few weeks is how simple it is to really just eat what they want. And what they want is completely different than it was before. Because at first they think, well, I've got to have a food plan, because if I just ate what I wanted, I would just eat macaroni and cheese and bread and chocolate all day, and I would just be 500 pounds, and I would be completely miserable, and I would be dead. But when they get in touch with their normal eating, because the disordered eating is out of the way and they don't have all of those cravings that weren't really them, they weren't these chocoholics, they weren't sugar addicts. That was a circumstance that they had created through trying to get to their goal weight over and over and over. When we end it on a root level, what we hear people saying is, oh, wow, I haven't wanted a salad when I wasn't on a diet ever. And I just went out to eat with friends and I wanted a salad. Wow, like I had brownies with friends and I was just done after one. Brownies are actually really sweet because you can start tasting your food. And then you eat whatever you want, but your desire is in alignment with health. And that's the thing that is truly sustainable. And every single diet that we go on, and every time that we even mentally want to get to our goal weight, we're signaling the exact opposite result in our brain and our body. And we live in a society where we drink the same poison as medicine that made us sick, where we go on all of these restrictive diets to try to get to our goal weight. And then when we go crazy with food, we think we need more restrictive diets. And that is why people get in this cycle where they're larger and larger and less healthy, and then they get diabetes, and then they're out of control, and now they have an eating disorder, all in the pursuit of trying to be healthy in the very backwards way that our society teaches us to do it. And that is why we exist, and that is why we do what we do. Because we have had women come to us that after 55 years of being in this cycle and gaining 100 pounds multiple times over it. And after gastric bypass surgery and losing 100 pounds that way, and then worrying that they're going to rip open the surgery that they invested $10,000 in because now they're binging and they're stretching everything out again. We have seen them in a matter of 4-6 weeks be able to completely end their disordered eating and go to a place of peace with food for the rest of their lives. We actually just had a celebration with a bunch of grads, and we have all of these women that are now getting their graduate degrees. I literally talked to like 3 women in the past 2 days that are now in a master's program and are now in relationships. And it's because once you get this obsession out of your life, and once the biggest deal in your life is not food, you can focus on the things that actually matter to you. You can focus on the things that you care about. And if that is a priority to you, if you are sick and tired of having your life ruled by weight and food and the terror of gaining weight and then seeing it happen anyway, the harder that you try, you can book a free breakthrough session with us where we are going to serve you in getting you the foundation of freedom so you can get out of this cycle and be able to join the hundreds and hundreds of women that now live free of this. And you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply. Again, that's lifewithlydia.com/apply. And snag an opening. The first one that you see, we get booked up very quickly. If you don't see an opening, fill out the form to get on the waiting list, and we'll let you know when more sessions open up, because our goal is to be able to get to everybody who needs that help. We have a small team, but we are making a huge change. And so if you see an opening, make sure to put it on your calendar, snag it right away, make sure that you are present and there and show up for yourself, because we cannot help you unless you are there and show up for you. But we will serve you to the foundation of freedom and being able to know how to be done with this or direct you to where you need to go. So that's, again, lifewithlydia.com/apply. And this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach. And we are ending eating disorders, not just for individuals, but ending eating disorders on the planet so that it is a problem and a disease and an issue of yesterday. Because it is a completely fabricated issue that we do to ourselves. And there are a lot of hard things that happen. And there are a lot of ways that this can start. But in ending it, it can absolutely be ended. And that's what we've seen hundreds and hundreds of times. But it's about knowing how to get out of that cycle. So again, that's lifewithlydia.com/apply to book a session with us. And this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, signing off. Mwah. Bye, guys.